Play that out. Let that play. Bring me some coffee, please.
Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. Yeah. It's the Republic of Mentellect, just to be a part of this, we call that Mentellect. And I continue with community, working for and fighting each other, rights and unity. But this ain't nothing that ain't new to me, it's next to me. Definitely it's the best to me, yeah, it's the definitely. The death of all my old ways, breaking off the chains of my soul to a bright race. This is nothing that can be replaced. No, I didn't come to play tennis, so we can't stay. No, I will never ever fade. It's the end of soldier of honor in his community. Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. I am a soldier for the army of the Lord, moving forth by the mighty omnivores. This serious business we got for our community. This serious business we living for this unity. The bright race raising up the brighter legacy. Bright power assuring the supremacy. We're spoken now must be held as future prophecy. By the power of army we will hold the power seat. We tuned into Mentellect and yes we heard the call. We raised up the name of Amen so the beast can fall. We move this one-on-one path. Yes we are the Lords. Our minds focus steady motion towards the board. Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. Soldiers, I've been soldiers. Put in the work, my body's always earned. By the power of Amen, we embody the Amen beings, moving in the future with a mind of clarity as well. Amen. So just lay down law and order, building a foundation with the bright folk cones, masterminds are sticking higher, souls of pure fire. We only here to manifest the true mind power. Channel mind is a deadly weapon, thoughts of transmission, equal fully loaded ammunition. Soldier, Amen. Soldier, Amen. Soldier. Amen, soldier. Soldier, Amen, soldier. Put in the work, my body's always earned. Soldier, Amen, soldier. Put in the work, my body's always earned. BLOGTALK.
All right. Here we go. Once again, we're back with High and Mighty Talks with me, the intellectual Newman A.R.C. We're going to be doing something special tonight. I'm going to be launching my channel, Mentellect Presents, the Woman Channel. I just did 6 audios for the Woman's Channel on Patreon. You'll be able to look down below and hit the link and become a patron, only $10 a month. Well, I'm going to give logical and rational advice, guidance, understanding, ultra-standing, complete comprehension of how women should conduct themselves from a man's point of view, from a man's perspective. And why I say that from a man's perspective, from a man's point of view, is because ultimately, what men will be honest. Real men will be honest about how they see women, how they see women, how they see females. Real men will be honest about that. Before I start off, we're going to, begin in the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord. And Amen we trust, and Amen we thank, and Amen we continue forward forever. Hail Amen. So, I say that men are the only real ones who are going to be totally honest with women about how they carry themselves, how they're seen, how they're viewed by men, because yes, it's important how women see themselves, but we have to be for real. A lot of times, women will not be honest. Women will not be honest about how their demeanor is, because, women, they have, they're trying to save face. Women will put on airs at times. Sometimes women will not be totally real. They have their female moments. I talk about women and, how women tend to have female moments. I'm going to speak about that on the Woman's Channel. The channel is for women only. But again, men may try and join and listen. That's fine. But, really, please understand this is for women. This is a channel for women, to build up strong women, to build up the minds of strong women, because the future woman has to be mentally strong. She has to put emotions to the side and think logically, think rationally in the, continuation and the extension of herself as a woman. I've always taught that in Mentellect. One of my very first casts was the mental being. I was talking about women on a mental level. I refer to it as the mental being. I'm going to bring, updated cast out that's going to be on the Woman's Channel about the mental being. So this is all about the woman. This channel is all about the woman. Sex, romance, breakups. I'm touching on everything, from a man's perspective of how he wishes a woman would conduct herself. Now, again, you'll get a lot of these females who will come up here, aka liberated ones, who will come up here and say, oh, who this guy think he is? What's this, another Kevin Samuels, another man telling a woman how she should react? That's a female response. That would be a female response. Why I call it a female response is because it's not about man versus woman, male versus female. It's not about, this is not a gender war. This is about making women better in the sight of men, because ultimately women want to appeal to men. I mean, let's just be for real. Women, you make yourselves up, you do your hair, you fix yourself up, you do all these things to appeal to men, right? You want to look good to men. You go up here and you put all this hair on, this makeup, all this stuff, and you get on Facebook, all these other Instagram, you take all these pictures to attract men. You're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it to attract men. That is your power, the attraction, your ability to attract men. That's a power that you have. All women want to have that ability to attract men on some level. So why not do it in a logical and rational way as a woman, you see, as opposed to a female? because there is a difference between women and females, a big, big difference. I was the first one to bring that out. Just like I was the first one to bring out the difference between males and men, which I don't get credit for. I was talking about the difference between males and men going back well over since the beginning of my broadcast. I was talking about that. Now all of a sudden, like 5, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9 years later, people pop up and talking about the difference between males and men, and they still haven't gotten it right, because what I said was the difference between males and men is men are mentally correct. Males are just anatomically correct. Like you can have a male cat, a male dog, a male bird. You can have all kinds of male creatures, but there's a reason why you don't refer to men. I mean, you don't refer to cats and dogs and male cats and male dogs as men. There's a reason why you don't refer to female dogs and cats and birds and all that as women, because women are supposed to be the hierarchy of females. They're supposed to be the hierarchy. The next level of a female is a woman. Okay? So, because you're anatomically correct, you have to be more than just anatomically correct to be considered a woman. And I'm going to just be honest, a lot of females out here who call themselves women, they damn sure don't make the cut. And I talk about that on the woman's channel. I talk about what real divine feminine energy is. So check it out. This is my big launch tonight of the woman's channel. I'm going to talk about what real divine feminine energy is. Very simple, very approachable things and whatnot, because I don't want to mystify. I want to demystify topics like that, topics like divine feminine energy. I want to demystify. I want to make it practical. I want to make all things that I talk about, speak on, teach on, I want it to be practical knowledge that you can, utilize. Not some spiritual, off the wall, out of the, so-called out of this world, super heavy, deep, or what you think super heavy and deep is. Because see, a lot of times people try to pass off, chaos and confusion. A lot of times people try to pass off confusion as something mentally deep or heavy. They try to pass that off. Like I'm not going to name no names. There's plenty of guys that's on here and girls that's coming up here in the name of all this spiritual talk and all of this, this diarrhea of the mouth talking nonsense about, spirituality and this chakra point and that chakra point, and, and this, that, and the third. And it's just a bunch of chaos, just a bunch of confusion, just a whole bunch of babble to confuse people, to get you to think they're saying something more than what they're saying, or get you to think they're saying something on a higher level when they really not. That's nothing but babble. Babble's a whole lot of babble. Remember, we in Babylon, so you're going to hear a lot of babble in Babylon. Okay, so check out the woman channel, Mentellect Presents, the woman channel on Patreon. Mentellect Presents, the woman channel on under this link. I got 6 audios uploaded. I'm gonna upload 6 audios every week. So there's gonna be a constant flow of highly intelligent and extended thought concerning the woman, and a guide to the woman. A guide to the woman. Because like I said again, sometimes women will not be honest. The most honest woman I've ever seen, about the plight of the woman and her connection to the man was Shahrazad Ali. I'm gonna be honest with you. She's the most I consider her the most forward-thinking woman when it came to that. I mean, if there's others out there, that's fine, but not many are going to be honest. A lot of people are trying to pick up where Kevin Samuels left off. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to pick up where Kevin Samuels left off. I'm not trying to be like anybody else, because, again, shout out to Kevin Samuels. He said a lot of great things, but mine is a more logical and rational approach to everything. Point A to point B to point C thing. I like to simplify things. So that's what you're going to get when you subscribe to the woman's channel. If you're looking for a bunch of abstract talk and a bunch of, just off the wall shit, my channel's not for you. Don't listen. If that's what you're looking for. So again, check us out, and we'll go from there. All right. So Next topic. Okay. Okay. So the next topic is next topic. I want to touch on a few things other than that. Okay. So I'm going to do a message to European Americans everywhere. It's a message to the European Americans everywhere. All right. It's okay that you Caucasians who call yourself Americans today. You know, there was a time where Caucasian, so-called white people here in America, they knew that they came from someplace else. Like at the beginning of the century, they would use terms like if they came from Italy or France or Germany or whatever, right? If they came from these places, right, they would basically let it be known that they come from these places, right? They would let it be known that they come from these places. They'd call themselves Italian American, German American, French American. They would call themselves those kind of names and whatnot. And now they don't do that anymore. They no longer refer to themselves as that. They will call themselves American. You know, they will call themselves American Door. They will call themselves American. They will make it seem as though they really are Americans. And they will try to, you know, just forget where they came from. They will tend to forget where they came from. Right? They will tend to act as though they're American and try in the hopes of trying to forget about the other Americans that were here. You know, the original Americans. Who are the original Americans? The people who are falsely being called African Americans, of course. And the fact that we sit up here and we allowing people to call us African Americans. The fact that we are sitting up here and allowing people to call us African Americans. The fact that we're sitting here and letting people dictate this false beginning or this false origin of where we came from, you know, in the face of others who clearly come from someplace else, Europeans and whatnot. Like I said, they're allowed to forget their European heritage. They're allowed to forget their European heritage. They're allowed to forget, everybody's allowed to come here from the Asians, the Caucasians, you know, and integrate into America and call themselves Americans. You see, but the people who are the real indigenous people, the so-called African Americans, you know, the people who didn't come from Africa, who actually are from here, who are native to here, who are indigenous, I should say, to here, are being told to call themselves African. We didn't get no vote on that. I know Jesse Jackson, they used him. He's a puppet. They used Jesse Jackson and other puppets to decide to call all of these millions of black people, over supposedly 13 or 14 or 15 million black people here, which they claim is only a small percentage, 20 million or wherever they keep going up in the number, going down. They decide for us that we're going to be called African American to make it seem like we immigrants when we were never referred to that before. But yet white people are not calling themselves European American. They're just calling themselves Americans. Now, in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, right? Because I said this before, I said these people are living out the definition of American right now. The Europeans, they're living out, because what does it say about the word American? American, the definition of American. A native of America, originally applied to the aboriginal, meaning the indigenous, copper-colored races found here by Europeans, meaning white people, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. That would be the people calling themselves Native Americans. Okay, because a lot of these Native American tribes are Caucasians. Let's just be real. And Asians. And they're not coming forward and making that known that they can trace their lineage, their roots to a whole nother continent. They can trace their roots back to Europe or Asia. So if you can trace your roots back to Europe and Asia, how do you call yourself American? American has a nationality, just like Italy has a nationality. You have Caucasian, white, so-called white Italians, who are Italian by nationality, right? Where they come from, German, French, whatever, Irish, these people, where they come from. And then you have us who come from nowhere in Africa, so-called black people who are being falsely called African American, who like children are having this name decided for them, because we didn't decide to call ourselves African American. We didn't decide to call ourselves black people. Other people did that for us. Other people designated these false titles for us. Yet they didn't tell the truth about themselves. They didn't call themselves European Americans. They still don't call themselves European Americans. My question to white people is, how is it that you're allowed to forget your European heritage, but you constantly forcing this African lie down black people's throats, so-called black people's throats, that we from Africa, we came on slave, which is a lie. Which is a lie. Why do we, as Americans, I say indigenous Americans, why do we accept the lie that we come from Africa? Why do we accept the lie that our skin is black when that's not the truth? That's a classification. Again, why are we letting people lie to us? Again, a lot of people are playing political theater with us. A lot of people are playing color games with us, telling us we black people. A lot of these so-called politicians and all these other people out here who telling our people that they're black. We got to be mindful of these people. We have to be mindful of these type of people. We have to be mindful to watch out for people who are telling us that we are from Africa, telling us that we're from someplace else. Mindful of people telling us that we are black-skinned people. We have to be mindful of these people because they're trying to deceive us as a people. We are indigenous Americans. We are American indigenous. We are Americans. The only real Americans by nationality. We are American by nationality. The only real Americans in this country. And we're being told we come from someplace else. Yet these people are being allowed to call themselves Americans. Or they just, like, I'm going to give you a good example of what they're doing. Like, when it's our stuff, when it's something that belongs to us, like identity, title, music, anything that links culturally to us, mentally to us, whatever, it belongs to the world. They'll tell you it belongs to the world, right? But when it comes to other people's stuff, that's their stuff. In other words, you can't get a bunch of people to come into Italy who are not Italian by nationality and just start calling themselves Italian. They're gonna be like the people, whoever the ruling class of Italy, who got Italian names, who got legitimate Italian names, are going to tell you you're not Italian. You're not Italian. You're not Italian. You don't have an Italian name. You don't come from Italian nationality. So Italy and Italian culture belongs to those people. Irish and the Irish culture belongs to those people. Every culture, every real people have their own culture, their nationality, their language. So what is the so-called black man and black woman's? What is theirs? You are the only blank slate. You are the only blank people sitting up here like idiots saying, what's your nationality? What's your heritage? Black, which is the same way of saying blank. We're blank people. We have blank. Our language is blank. Where our culture is blankness and blank this and blank that. That's the exact same thing as saying black. Nothing. So much so that people are insulting you. You see, people are insulting you when they're calling you black people. That's an insult because they're calling you dead people. Black is the same way as saying dead. A people that don't exist are people who are redacted, who have been removed. So if they're getting you to call yourself, these so-called black people out here, these so-called black leaders out here are getting you to buy into blackness still, knowing damn well that has nothing to do with us as a race, not telling us that, hey, that's that black thing is really something the government laid on us. If they're not telling us that they're not saying we need to stop calling ourselves black, they are complicit. They are complicit with the lie. They're complicit with keeping our people down. A lot of these black people that don't want to let go of black, so-called black people that don't want to let go of black, they're trying to keep our people in darkness. They're trying to keep our people in a state of darkness, and we shouldn't trust those people. Anybody that's calling us black, we shouldn't trust them. Not when we got real knowledge out here to say otherwise, because as so-called black people, we're doing nothing but operating as the bottom of white people. We're operating as the bottom barrel or the evil opposite of white people. So I don't like being cast as the evil opposite to anybody. We're being cast by proxy as the evil opposites to white people when we call ourselves black people. You see, like God and the devil, good and bad, positive and negative. You know, we always the negative. We always the devil. We always the bad. They're the good. When we going to stop playing these roles? When we going to stop playing these roles? I'm a black man. I'm a black woman. Skin not black. When we going to stop playing these roles? That's my question. When we going to stop falling for these roles? When we going to stop allowing people to insult us by calling us African Americans, knowing damn well we didn't come from no Africa, calling us black people, knowing damn well our skin is not black. They disrespecting you. The blacks. How Joe Biden said you blacks. Yeah. Because black is nothing. Black means nothing. You see, black is nothing and black means nothing. So I suggest you people who, you Caucasians who calling yourself Americans today, I would suggest that you go and look up the definition of American in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Go do some reading and go see what it says there. Because I'm pretty sure you don't know what the word of American means from the 1828 Merriam-Webster dictionary. I'm pretty sure you don't even know what the definition of American is, because if you did, you would stop calling yourselves Americans. All white people would stop calling themselves Americans. You don't get to become a nationality because you move to a place. Yeah, you can call yourself native. You are American immigrants. You are immigrants of America. You are immigrants from wherever you came from. And see, this is why this country has a soft policy on immigrants here, because immigrants are running the government. Immigrants are running the government. These are not Americans. The government is not American. If you're white or Asian, I mean, you come from someplace else. You got immigrants running the country. If you're calling yourself Native American and you got heritage in Europe or in Asia, which y'all do, y'all link to people in Europe because you do that to us. You'll tell this lie that so-called black people in America are linked to the Africans. And then when you go and look there, find that out, we find it's a load of BS. But y'all are Caucasians and Asian people here in America who call themselves Americans can be traced back to European heritage, can be traced back to Asian heritage, Mongolian heritage. That's why they'll put on the census or any of these job things, they'll put Native American and Asian Pacific. I think they put that together, Native and Asian. They try to make, in other words, they're trying to make Native American synonymous with Asian. So then that means you're from Asia. That means you're not indigenous to America. If you can point to another continent that you're linked to, that you were linked to before you got here, or your people were linked to before they got here, then that means you're not indigenous. We can't point to another continent. Africa is not a continent we can point to because, first of all, we debunked the whole we came from West Africa, because West Africa wasn't even populated at the time they claimed they got slaves. Our people were taken out of America and sent to other places. That's been factually proven. Y'all have not proved anything about no African slave ships. That's a lie. There was no African slave trade. Y'all haven't proved anything about that. Nobody stepped up and did all that. I heard a lot of people getting salty and angry and pissed off that we bringing out our American indigenous heritage as the real American indigenous people. I hear a lot of people getting mad about that, but so what? A lot of so-called natives getting mad about that also because, like I said in the last cast, you know, the fact that we are challenging that whole Native American lie as American indigenous people, they don't like that. They don't like it not because we lying. They don't like it because it's the truth. And they ain't got nothing to back it up. They went unchallenged for the longest time as being the American Indian or so-called Native Americans and rocking the feathered head crowns, rocking our culture and saying this is their culture. But they was able to totally forget about where they came from. And it's just the same way like here in America. Like I said, hip hop. They'll tell you hip hop is American music, it's rap music, and rap is for everybody. So, in saying that, what they're saying is, oh, it ain't y'all music no more because we like it. It's for everybody. It's not the American indigenous people music. So yeah, they are right in a sense when they say hip hop or rap music is American music. It is because the American people, the American national people, the American indigenous people created hip hop, meaning so-called black people, the people who have the redacted line, the whole race of people who got a redacted line in over their whole culture and heritage as American Indian people. That's all that was meant to do, redact us from history. And by our people calling themselves African Americans and black, we are redacting our own self history. We are redacting ourselves from our own American indigenous history by us allowing people to call us black, even people that look like us. Again, if they're still doing that and they're still linking us to Africa, they traitors, man. Don't trust them. They traitors. They turncoats. All right. Let me see. Why is South America, North America, and Egypt a hot spot of hostility for our people, in particular in this day and time? I asked that question because, of course, you know, the hostility is always on here in North America and in South America, like places, and even in Mexico and places like that, and Central America for so-called black people. We all over those places, right? It's a lot of our people. It's more our people in South America than in, you know, than North America. People that look like us, people who are indigenous to South America, Central America. We got people who are indigenous to those areas, right? That, you know, invaded just like we were invaded here in North America. You got indigenous people in the South America, so-called black people in those areas who speak Spanish, right? Just like how we speak in English, we got our people all over the place. These American indigenous people speak all these languages and whatnot who were invaded. Now, we get a lot of hostility in those places. And then in ancient Egypt, the people over there in Egypt, the Nubians and things like that, which is an extension of our people too, who made their way over into Africa and built pyramids over there, set up civilization over there, which is, again, Egypt, or what you're calling ancient Egypt, is a American implant. It's an American implanted system in the Middle East. You see, that society didn't come from Egypt. It came from America into Egypt. Okay, that's why there's so many more pyramids over here on this side than there is in ancient Egypt, but nobody talks about that. Remember, I brought that up. This is Egypt, man. This is Israel. This is Egypt. All that is over here. So I don't know what them people fighting about over there. Egypt, Israel, America is all America. You see, and this is the land of the chosen people. That's why so many people want to come here. This is why so many people want to come here, and because we were here first. We were here first. This was the Garden of Eden, all these places. So now that we're waking up in these places, we're waking up. This is why we're getting a lot of hostility from the different races of people, the Caucasian, the Asian, the people who have mixed into those societies and speaking the language and whatnot. We getting a lot of, like a good example of that, Kevin Hart. Here it is. When he said the thing about the Egyptians being so-called black people, you know, he was making reference to our people being connected to us. You got this Egyptian Arab, this Egyptian pale Arab, this Caucasian, because all them Arabs over there, they consider themselves to be white, especially when they come in here to America. They already classified as white. Okay, this is why they say white people are a majority here in America. They're not talking about Caucasian. They're talking about anybody who the government classifies as white, because on the paper, they want people classified as white to be the majority here in America, as opposed to the people who are classified as black. That means the indigenous people. Black means the indigenous people, the people who are indigenous to this land, who are the original people of this land, the first people of this land, the only real natives or nationals. I'm going to say national. I don't like saying native. The only real nationals of this land. And that's our people, so-called black people, who are falsely being called black and African American. We are American. Take off the African part. We are American by nationality. We are American by ethnicity. We are American. The only real Americans. Right? And this is what we need to be teaching our people today. So a lot of those people are mad we waking up to that fact. Right? I was touching on the word criminal. Why is the word criminal linked to, I said that the word criminal can be linked, you can see it being linked to parasite, because what does a criminal do? You notice how in this society they romanticize crime, organized crime, you know, just people getting away with doing things, you know, to commit crimes where they don't have to work or do anything. So they steal from people, they sell drugs to people, and they try to make crime cool in this society. The reason why they try to make crime cool in this society, like selling drugs or robbing people or stealing from people, or, you know, extorting people, they try to make it seem cool here because that's how this country was built. Off of the same criminal behavior. Off of the same criminal behavior, the so-called founding fathers built this country off of the same criminal behavior. So this country they have this country has a fondness, even though they don't want to say it, they have a fondness for organized crime and corruption. This country has a fondness for it. That's why they make movies like The Godfather, honoring a bunch of criminals, honoring a bunch of white criminals, a bunch of organized white criminals, right? They'll make movies like that, Casino, and all these other, and they'll glamorize that. Now, if it was so-called black people doing that, they'd be a bunch of animals. You know, what are these, you niggers? You know, what are you doing? If black people had organized if it was black people had organized crime and all that, and doing all, well, first of all, it wouldn't be no organized crime. It wouldn't be, because first, you niggas don't know how to work together, number one. And number two, the government would let that shit last all about 5 minutes. Okay? There would be no ongoing criminal enterprise. Because remember, I'm going to prove it to you. Where can you point to right now where there's an ongoing criminal enterprise of black people running anything? Where can you point to? You can't point to nothing. There is none. All them niggas that were selling crack in the 80s and the 90s, all of them got taken down. All them niggas in the 70s that were selling heroin, all of them got taken down. They had enterprises and all of them was connected up and linked up and whatnot and doing business. They gone. But notice the mafia is still around. The Japanese still around. All these other racial criminal groups are still around. So you're going to tell me that's not by design? Or that they just so dumb criminals and that these guys are so smart? You lock these guys up, but you let the enterprise keep going. Because you know who doing all the crime. You know all the organized crime. You know all of them. You just keep them in court. You go through the motions with them, but you ain't going to lock all of them up. You ain't going to stop the whole thing. And some of these, and the government let some of them keep their property. They commit crime, so they know they got their property, their assets through ill-gotten gain and crime, but they'll let them keep their assets. They don't do that with black people. You get caught up selling drugs, doing anything, and you got property. They taking everything, anything they think they stripping you naked. For them, they let them keep some of their stuff and whatnot, and just forfeit some money, but you get to keep the property. Like, they let them do all that. See? Crime don't pay. And so criminals are parasites because they feed on people who are working hard. They feed on people who are trying to make a living. That's what criminals are. They feed on people. They extort people. They feed on people's weaknesses and whatnot. That's what a criminal is. So, when people are trying to romanticize that, when people are trying to glorify that, you should look at it for just what it is. People who are nothing but parasites who cannot survive on their own. They got to suck the blood from hardworking people who are trying to do something in the world. And again, I don't care what race you are, black, white, or anything. If you are a criminal, you are a parasite. If you are a criminal, you are a parasite. You see, I have no love for criminals at all. Me being a former criminal, I have no love for criminals. You see, I saw myself as a businessman, but goddamn it, I was a criminal. I was pursuing a criminal career until I woke up. Anyway, next topic. It's gonna be brief. Are Native Americans, I think I touched on it. Are Native Americans Caucasian and Asian? Yeah, I said that they are. We got to double down on that. Again, people who are saying that they are people who come from someplace else, they really shouldn't be trying to take credit for or present themselves as the people who are native to that land. Remember, in the definition of American, the Merriam-Webster definition of American, keep in mind that, they said they replaced these people, or that they never said what happened to the indigenous people who were referred to as American, because they said these people were referred to as American, right? They were referred to as American. They said they were referred to. So they're basically telling you that word did not come from the Europeans, because if they were referred to as Americans and, they're indigenous, they would have been like, these were the first people of this land. They wouldn't have said the word American was linked to them. They would have just said these were the first people of this land. They had many different names. They didn't refer to themselves as American, but they would have just said these are the people of this land. They didn't. They said these are the people who were referred to as American. These were the first Americans until the Europeans came and took their identity. That's what the definition is saying. So the definition is showing clear, clear-cut theft. and identity. That definition is pointing out clear identity theft. Because if you know you coming from Europe and you know you're not American, and you know there's people here who were the first people that were American that you met here, those are the Americans. It's fair for the Europeans and the Asians to call all these people that came from other places to call themselves U.S. citizens, not Americans. It's more right for them to refer to themselves that way as U.S. citizens instead of Americans. Coffee, but yeah, so this is what people need to keep in mind with when we are looking to claim our identity. We claim our identity as American, simple as that. Claim our identity as American. Let me see. I want to see. Oh, music. I meant to touch on this last time. I said if I didn't touch on this, because I touch on a lot of stuff sometimes if I repeat myself, but I don't think I touched on this last time. I talked about how the American indigenous people, it's a time for the American indigenous people, so-called black people. Is it time for the American indigenous people to create a new music? Yeah, it is. If I didn't say that last week, I'm saying it now. And we're actively working on it. Some of these tracks you heard at the beginning were tracks from my people, things we're working on for our community. But we're going to start working on more public music. A lot of people like the stuff we did in-house here, what we play at the beginning of the cast, because I can't play outside music on YouTube because I get a copyright strike. They strike you because that music is copyrighted and is owned by whatever music publishing company. So you can't just outwardly play. I don't know how the people that rate the music go, but I can't call it. But anyway, I think I touched on everything. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. All right. I think I touched on everything. Let me double check. All right. Yeah, that's it. Any questions before we close out? Any questions before we close out? Oh yeah, the women's channel. Okay. Yeah, just hit the link down below. Like I said, I just put up 6 new audios. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna just go in depth, logically and rationally on women, how women should carry themselves, how women are perceived by men, what would be respected, by men, what image that women should show of themselves, how they should carry themselves on a higher level, the difference between females and women, So again, just, subscribe, check it out. More content is coming up. I do 6 casts every week. So look out for those 6 casts. I'm going to touch on everything under the sun. So I want this channel to serve as a woman's guide to womanhood. I guess that's the best way to say it. The woman's guide to womanhood. That's what I refer to my channel as, the woman's guide to womanhood. A path toward womanhood. To keep yourself constantly in a state of womanhood. Because womanhood is something that has become, is basically being done away with by femalism. I told you that people like your Meg Thee Stallion, all these images they got out here of females that they're pushing to the young girls. But rarely do you see any images of women. You don't see any images of women. The biggest image of women that we had at one point in time, one of the biggest images of women we had on TV, the last image of women we had, of a woman we had on TV, strong woman, was Felicia Rashad, and her character is Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show. That was the definition. I've always said on my cast, she was the definition of a woman. She was the definition of a strong woman. And she still, I don't want to say was, she still is, that translates even, to Felicia Rashad's character, because you could tell she's not just playing a role the Claire Huxtable character is, you know, you could tell that's Felicia Rashad. You know, I've seen her in interviews. She's very well-spoken woman, very ladylike, very classy, you know, very feminine, that's why I call divine femininity. Her and her sister Debbie Allen, classy women of class. That's the word I was trying to look for, class. Women carry class. They have carried themselves like ladies. So that is the definition of womanhood. You know, you got a lot of females out here who are perpetrating women, calling themselves women, which again, I said a lot of people shouldn't, a lot of these females out here don't have no right to call themselves women. They're not in the same league. That's it. Any other questions?
No.
All right, so go down below, click the link, subscribe to Mentellect Presents the Woman's Channel. You'll hear the 6 uploads. You know, comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think. I'm open to other topics and whatnot. So my daughter, you know, raising four young women to be soon anyway. So they're calling me. So go and subscribe, check it out. Give me your thoughts. You know, we're gonna add more topics. We're gonna make it interactive. I'm gonna do the Into the Minds of Men. That's gonna be for the women. That was one of my old conferences I did. I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring things forward on that. Again, the logical approach to womanhood. And that's it. We're going to close on the name of Amen by the power of Amen. Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and Amen we continue forward forever. Stay tuned for another High and Mighty Talks. Good night. Hit the link below.